Okay, it is now 9:30 or something like that. My hair is wet. I just got a shower. I thought I'd take you along with me on my day. Do a haircut, get some things from Target. I'm shooting right now on the DJI Osmo Action. And I'm going to be seeing exactly how well this works, if it's going to go good. Maybe vlogging's a thing that I could do. Shout out to Dorian Coleman for being the pioneer of vlogging in my life. And yeah, so I got some toys from Fujifilm as well, so I'll probably just unbox these and show you guys exactly what's going on. Looking like they sent me an XE4 and an XS10, and I'll be having some videos on those, comparing that to the X Pro 3 and the XH1 respectively. And I'm hoping this does well as far as DJI Osmo Action. 24 frames per second. This is their 4K. It's on auto ISO or auto exposure, so I hope it goes well. I actually went ahead and strapped on my Tiffin Black Pro Mist filter on this just to see if that'll help out, because I know that they over sharpen. I'm shooting decent like, so I'm gonna get dressed. We can stop seeing my chest and we can go check out some other stuff. So I'm going right now to get my hair cut and get it figured out exactly what's going on. My lady likes my hair long and whatnot. Sorry about that. So I just unboxed that XE4 and that XS10, and the initial takes on it are, man, I'm just gonna be honest with you. The bodies are great. They're great size, they're small, they're light. Honestly, that's what Fujifilm was originally supposed to be. Especially with the XS10, that grip feels so amazing. It kind of weirds me out that people, you know, Fujifilm just wants to get DSLR shooters to come over and come to Fuji, and I get that. But at the same time, you know what really is a great selling point is how much lighter things can be and still have great ergonomics. And the XS10 is a great example of that. I love the way it's laid out. I love where the buttons are. I wish it had a D-pad. That's one thing that upsets me, is it doesn't have a D-pad. I love the controls are assignable. And to be honest with you, looking at it with basically what all the features it has, from video features, F-Log, 4K, being able to output with an HDMI, 3.5mm headphone jack, in the XE4 and in the XS10. That camera, it has 4 custom setting dials, so you can save your custom settings. That camera is professional shit. That's what a professional camera needs to look like for Fujifilm. Add all the buttons, dude. I love the ISO button. I love the Q button. I love the dedicated record button. Add all the buttons. It reminds me of the XT1 out of the dedicated record button. Like, don't be shy. Give me more options. I can always go into the settings and I can take those out, but I can't add those in. You know, this Osmo Action does a really good job. I mean, I really like the color rendering. I think it's a decent, like, yeah, it is, but it's pretty good, ain't it? Check it out. Good, it's good quality. I am here now at said Sports Clip, getting my hair cut. I am wearing a mask. I am vaccinated, just so you guys know. But I'm wearing a mask because I'm not a crybaby and it's not that hard. So, okay, so hair is cut. It's all right. I mean, I just showed a picture. I'm not the kind of person who really knows what to do. That's why a barber's so important, because I tell him, hey man, whatever you say, and the dude just does it. He does it. You don't have to tell me that you have to show him any photos or anything like that. Like, I feel like she cut off a little bit more off the top than what I said. Honestly, I didn't even expect her to cut off the top, but like, it's crazy. I'm confrontational and I'll talk shit about a whole bunch of stuff, but I won't say anything to a man or a woman making my food or cutting my hair. And so I didn't say nothing. I just sat there and said, you know what? Just kick my shit. But she actually did a good job. Okay, so right now I'm on my way to grab my lady. We're gonna go to lunch. I'm wearing my patented Crocs and 2 shorts, 6-inch seam. Shout out Dorian Coleman, Lee DeLeon. And I'm just basically making my way downtown, walking fast, just facing past them homebound. One thing I do want to bring up when it comes to shooting sports photography with Fujifilm is there's one thing that's always referenced whenever people talk about shooting sport photography with APS-C. And when it comes to the negativity, it's always light, you know, working with low light situations. And it's just always funny because I feel like those people maybe are shooting with APS-C like it maybe high school or junior high, middle school games like that. Like everything that I've shot in, whether it be, you know, NBA G League, this MILB game, the USL, the MLS, the lighting is really good because these are professional athletes, and what they're really trying to avoid is situations to where there's an unfavorable situation due to low light. One thing to keep in mind when people tell you APS-C for sports is stupid, just tell them, you know, they've honestly probably never shot it, or they just don't shoot anything that's relevant, because I mean, the whole thing about low light and, you know, yeah, lights get low, but you have a lot of artificial lighting. And again, it's not about shooting with no light. It's about knowing how to manipulate light. That's how you get great low light shots. It's not about your aperture. It's not about a 1.0 or 1.2. What's the point of shooting a group photo of people if you have to shoot it at 1.0 just because you can shoot it at low light? It's all about knowing how to manipulate light. Always remember that. Okay, so we just got done eating. Again, I apologize, the audio is horrible. One thing I will say is my giant 52mm lens filter and the adapter that comes for this Tiltang metal enclosure and whatnot comes an adapter for a 52mm filter. Everything's already packed up for the game. I'm just gonna bang out a few emails, work on a couple reports for the day job, and then from there I'll skedaddle onto you know, the field, and we'll have a grand old time. You guys will be enjoying this the first time for this field with me as well. That's an ambulance. Oh shit, something's on fire. Well, that's not good. So I'm going to be taking a few things with me tonight that are going to help me out. Now, I'm not going to take a monopod, and I know a lot of people would probably trip out like, why aren't you going to take a monopod? That's what you should do. That's what a professional would do. I'm not taking a monopod because I don't need a monopod. But the two things that I'm going to be bringing besides my Think Tank Shapeshift bag are going to be this right here. They're going to be, this is the, I don't know what this is called, the Peak Design. I forgot, this little belt holster, but it goes with your capture clip, which is awesome. So basically I put this on my belt. I actually went to Target to buy shorts with belt specifically. This enables me to carry an extra body on my belt close to my person, not worried about dangling around as if it was on a camera strap. My shoulders are clean and clear. Helps distribute the weight really well. And so that's why I choose this. This will, anything that the X Pro 3 has on it, will sit on here. And so the X Pro 3 will constantly sit on this. So whether it is the 90mm f2, or I have to put on the 50 to 140, or let's say I use the 23 1.4, it's going to be clipped onto my waist right here on that X Pro 3. So Peak Design just put on that little Arca Swiss plate that they comes with it. Slide this baby in. You have to press this down to unlock it. You could even put it in a locked position by twisting this to where it doesn't move at all, but a great tool right here. And the second thing is from Cotton Carrier. It's this little chest strap. Again, I would carry a strap, but I just don't want the weight on me, and I want to be able to very quickly move in and out of places, have the camera in front of me at all times, and also be able to quickly pull off with one hand whatever I need to grab, and I can do that with this. Pro tip, whenever you're going to go to these sporting events, especially if it's a sub league of a major sport, you don't know who these people are a lot of times, but they all have a story and they all have a trajectory. Get photos of every single player that plays, match the numbers up, make sure to get a roster sheet when you're going in there. Match the numbers up to these people. Make sure that you're putting that metadata in whenever you're inserting their photos. I mean, it's going to take a lot of extra time, but here's the thing. Fernando Tatis of the San Diego Padres, he actually played at this AA affiliate a couple years ago, and there are a couple guys who had photos of him that are now gone before he started breaking out last year. So let that sink in, that you don't know who's coming through here. There's 3 guys on the San Antonio Missions team. 3 have been called up. One of them just had a season-ending injury. The other one is still in the majors, and the other one's on the DL. But at the beginning of the year, if I would have gotten in, I would have seen 3 players from their farm system, and they have 2 guys on this team and 2 guys on the Midland Rockhounds who are actually rated as projection dates of 2022 and 2023, which means that's when they're projected to get into the majors. So basically, if I have their photos of them right now, I'm following these guys on Instagram. Some of them are following me back. I'm able to communicate with these guys and get their photos. You're just putting a leg in for whenever they give you credit if they like your photos, and they end up, you know, going somewhere in the majors next year. And so it just, everything's about giving yourself some leverage. Everything is about documenting every single step that you're taking, because it doesn't just help the people that are hiring you, it helps you out more than anything. Now heading out to go. I turned off de-warp and turned off whatever the hell is doing, the wind noise, whatever. So hopefully that's helping, and I put on Rocksteady. I'm about to head to Wolf Stadium, I forgot what it's called, and we're gonna start getting out there. I'm gonna meet a guy at the front, He's gonna show me around a little bit and then take me down to the field. I'll be able to get some shots of the players in the field, and then he'll show me where I can go. And basically, as he said, you have access to the whole stadium, so just don't get hit. I'm gonna note off the bat, it's hot as hell. Heat index in San Antonio is basically with the humidity included and the temperature. It's feeling like it's going to be around 10 degrees hotter no matter what. So a 95 degree day turns into a 105 degree day, and that really sucks. Game's been nice, just been shooting. Didn't really get to do anything beforehand because I got into a fender bender, which is totally awesome, but game's good. The camera's working great. For sure, one thing I have to say is that this 1.4 time adapter is the perfect length. It works great. The autofocus is still fantastic on the XH1 and on the X Pro 3. It did amazing on both. I flip-flopped and switched it back and forth. I've got nothing but praise to give this damn lens and this damn adapter, especially with the slower processor. The XH1 isn't that much slower, but you would expect some hiccups. There were some focusing issues for a little bit, but it was just because I had my focus box too big and it was back focusing to like a picture of someone that was in there. But sorting that down, and it started working a lot better. So this has been a success. A lot of success with this camera, a lot of great shots. I'm really excited about showing some of these. It's gonna be very, very low light. Hopefully it can still get me and doesn't make the image too bad. But overall, it was a great day for shooting. Fender bender wasn't great, but the 50-140 was fantastic. Got some pretty good shots, got some keepers. Now, they're like, you know, baseball is very repetitive. A man's throwing, a man's hitting, you know, guys catching. It's not like there's a million different scenes to get, especially in a game like this today where there really wasn't a whole lot going on. Yeah, some runners were in scoring position, but not a lot of really crazy plays, not a lot of ball and play kind of day. You know, balls were hit to guys, but they were hit right to people. And so whenever you have days like that, you can only get so much of pitching and hitting and catching. And so overall, fantastic as far as the experience. And the cameras did great, held up so well. The X Pro 3, I'm so proud of it, man, just the way it flies through stuff. And the XH1, I tinkered with the settings, and I think I found the perfect settings for it. The XH1 with the 50-140 and the 1.4 time teleconverter that changed it from a 2.8 to an f4 focused amazing. Honestly, there was enough light to where I never had to go above 6400, and I got to keep my shutter at 1/2000th, which, for those of you who've ever shot baseball, things where your arm's swinging and that ball's coming at a lot higher velocity than a human being. And so it's just amazing how I was able to keep up and really give me, you know, the nice frozen image that I needed, especially with the bat coming off the ball. I mean, the shots are great. I'm really excited to go home and check these out. Okay, so finally home. That's it. That's all. We'll check the images and see exactly how they are now that we're at the house. And overall, I think it's a huge win for Fujifilm. I get back there on Thursday, so we'll check out the other cameras for that on Thursday. But so far today, fantastic. I'll run in and start importing these, run them through X processor once I find the ones I like, and then I'll be sure to share them. So the day after, and overall after looking at all the images, I gotta say, as I said last night, man, I'm super duper proud of the way the XH1 and the X Pro 3 performed. I mean, and that's gonna go across the board for any of the X-Trans 4 sensors. That's the thing you guys have to understand is really, we've only for the past few years, we've been getting incremental processing updates. So when it comes to image quality and things like that, it's always gonna be the same. The X-Trans sensor is always gonna perform. So if the XH1 does good enough, just know that if I take the XS10 and the XC4 out, it's not really gonna do any difference. It's just gonna be focus on, it's just gonna be the autofocus that's really gonna perform better. The one thing I will tell you though is that there wasn't really bad performance. There was two situations to where I couldn't lock focus and it was back focusing, and it was because my focus point was too large. I had too large of a square. And so it was back focusing on an umpire in the background, and I just had to make my focus point smaller, drop it down in size, and it fixed it up right there. There is actually a shot, a sequence where a guy is sliding into third base to where it tracked him all the way from being able to slide all the way through. And you know, it may not seem like a big deal, but these are the things that you're tracking in sports. You're not really tracking a full, I mean, it's a waste of footage to be able to track a guy running a full 90 feet, or even thinking about, instead of 90 feet, running a full length of a field and things like that. You have so many things that are in the way. You got people that are moving. You kind of want a clean background, and you kind of want to catch the action. So instead of catching a dude running and getting his face and his cheeks puffed out and stuff, which really isn't telling the full story, that slide is what was more important. So I made sure I was ready for the slide. I'm tracking him all the way through from second base, and by the time he gets down and getting ready to get in the dirt, I'm following him all the way through the slide, and it keeps focus the whole time using AF on and continuous focus. A lot of situations like that, people getting out of the batter's box after a hit, pitchers throwing, you may think, oh, you know, they're standing in one spot. They're not really standing in a singular spot, and even more than that, the quick fluid movement from a pitcher, they're going from a straight up spot down to crouched, and they're coming in and out of the frame, and you're basically having to move your camera with their movement. It's pretty quick movement. And some cameras, they can't handle that. But I took it off of face and eye autofocus. You know, I'm shooting at f4 and f2 and f2.8, and so it's not like, you know, I really needed to have the face and autofocus on. When I hit them, I'm hitting the plane, I'm getting pretty good focus. Things were fantastic. These images, almost all of them were shot at least they're all shot at 1/2000th of a second, and either at 4000 or 6400 ISO. And they're, even if there is grain, the digital noise from Fujifilm is very, very pleasing, and so it's not like there's anything bad with it. The way I graded them was to where it's a little bit more of a golden look to it. These are not using filters. There was no Tiffin Black Promise filter. There's no glimmer glass. The only thing right now that's even using my Black Promise filters are this right here, this DJI Osmo Action. The fact that I have a Tiffin filter on this, Black Promise 1/4. That's it. And so these are all just fantastic images. Now, I did only shoot in RAW because of two things. I didn't have a deadline to meet, so I didn't have to send a newspaper company you know, a JPEG. But also, you know, I like shooting in JPEG. That is fun, shooting a simulation. But for something like this, I kind of don't want to. You know, I'm guessing anywhere. You know, in sports photography, you're going to shoot anywhere from maybe, I would just say, if you're staying a full game, anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 shots. And you know, because it's not just about you're getting the gameplay and things like that. Baseball is very repetitive, but it's also your shooting sequences, because in a lot of sports, you know, the thing about rapid firing is you want the sequence of someone going up for a jump shot and the ball barely released from their hand versus, you know, cocked back in the firing position. You want the sequence of a pitcher coming through and following his motion to be able to get when the ball's coming off. Like, there's certain things you want. Any kind of photo you can get the ball in the air is a fantastic photo because it paints a bigger picture, and because of that you have to be able to shoot sequence. So I'm bursting off at maybe like 5, 6, sometimes holding all the way down to 8 frames at a time per second, and it's doing its job. And so because of that, when you're shooting burst sequences like that, you end up having a lot more photos. And so I just didn't want to have to weed through the JPEGs, because to be honest, I knew I was going to want to edit a lot of these, even the ones that were in earlier and there was a lot of sunlight and I didn't have my ISO up that high. I knew I needed to be able to edit those RAWs to be able to tailor them to look pretty uniform throughout, even whenever it was nighttime. And with that, you know, JPEGs just weren't that big of a deal for me, and having those in my basically and cultivating those or culling those really wasn't that big of a deal to me. So overall, fantastic. I love these images. I love the images. You know, I love the fact that you know, baseball is an amazing sport to me. It really is just you and the guy in front of you. You know, I mean, I like the way someone put it. Baseball to them is the best sport because you can't run out the clock. You can't just dribble out the clock. You can't just run plays to end the clock. You can't just kick the football or soccer ball around, you know, in extra time and play keep away. You have to go and you have to pitch to the guy. And so bottom of the ninth, you're up by 1, there's 2 guys on, there's still a chance that you're gonna lose. You can't really run it out. And so baseball is very special in that, and you feel that intensity in every moment. One thing I will say about this, both these teams, these motherfuckers are tall. These motherfuckers are tall. And so just one thing that the photos don't display it well enough, because the fact that everyone's so tall that it makes it look like, oh, everyone's the same height. These dudes were like the tallest, looking like he could be 6'6", 6'8", some shit like that, all the way down to the smalls, maybe being my height around 5'11", 5'10". There is no, I mean, and in between, it's just tall. It's just tall folk, and so there's no Altuves in a lot of this. But it was really nice to see some of the guys in the team, and even more than that, you know, a lot of these guys are going to be pro players. Anya is going to be a pro player. He's back on assignment after injury, and so a lot of these guys will be gone over the next year. So getting these photos of them while they're in triple or double A ball is pretty special, because they could be worth something later on. So but that's it. That was the experience. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Showed you some of the shots. Hope you like those shots as well. But these are some of my best ones. I haven't gone through all of them, but really with baseball, it's so repetitive that you can get pretty similar shots across the board with everyone. And it's just about finding those certain players that you know, the shot's the best on. So that's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this little vlog. Have a good one. Let me know what you think.